Welcome to this webinar. I'll give it a minute or two for everybody to stream in. But if you're here to learn about state and local contracting, then you're in the right place. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'd like to welcome you to this webinar from the Florida SBDC at FIU and the BizGap program. This webinar is focused on finding success with state and local contracting. I'm your presenter, Brian Van Hook. I'm the Regional Director of the Small Business Development Center at FIU's College of Business. And let's get into the presentation. I know folks are going to be streaming in as well. Okay. Who's this guy talking to you? My name is Brian Van Hook, as I mentioned, with FIU and the College of Business. And I'm originally from Louisiana, but I have over 20 years of experience working with the federal government, both as an employee and as a federal resource partner. So I have a lot of experience in terms of navigating federal contracts, but also have experience with state and local agencies and state and local contracting opportunities as well. And then as it mentions up there, worked in the United States Senate and the Office of Technology Policy at the U.S. Department of Commerce. So have a lot of experience related to different areas like telecom, cybersecurity, technology, disaster preparedness, economic development. And so I'm happy to take this experience and provide it to you in terms of some opportunities that your business could take advantage of on the contracting side. Just real quick about what is BizGap. BizGap is the Business Growth and Acceleration Program. The BizGap program has been a program that we worked in Miami-Dade County since about 2016. We've done it in a number of communities, and we're really proud that we were able to scale up the program for Florida's 27th Congressional District, thanks to a grant from the U.S. Small Business Administration and also from Congressman Salazar. So as I mentioned, it's funded by the SBA. We already talked about the program has been around since 2016, and it's focused on hyperlocal consulting, training, and outreach to businesses in particular communities and commercial corridors. And we really want to meet businesses where they are in the community. So we've been doing a great job in terms of actually going out and canvassing, meeting businesses at the place of business, holding in-person workshops, information sessions, and resource fairs. We also are adding in webinars as well to be able to connect with businesses in multiple formats. So thank you again for joining us for this webinar. And then for BizGap, it's also designed to be an additional tool in the toolkit for a community that's looking to better assist their businesses, whether it's with startup assistance or business growth. And then our project in District 27 is focused on, as we said, door-to-door canvassing, data mapping surveys, one-on-one business consulting, and also training and outreach. And the goal for that particular project is to assist consulting and training over 1,000 businesses in the district from January of this year through December. And we're well on our way, including with this webinar that we're having today. And then just shout out to our BizGap team. We have 7 really great consultants working in District 27. They're all specialists in different areas. And so definitely reach out if they can help you in any way. I also would shout out our Miami-Dade consultants under SBDC at FIU. That does include SBDC as well as the Apex Accelerator program as well. And then since we're talking about government contracting, I did want to mention the Apex Accelerator, which is formerly the PTAC program. It's funded through a cooperative agreement with the Department of Defense. And at the end of the day, it's focused on government contracting, whether that's DoD, federal, state, and local. And then what we're going to learn for you today is how you can grow your business through government contracts. We're going to review the 6-step gateway. Some of you have been in our previous webinar. We weren't really in depth on that. I'm not going to get too detailed on it because I know that we have a couple of repeat attendees, but we're going to talk about that. We're also going to give you examples of state and local contracting opportunities, some tips on business development, and then additional resources so that you can kind of really take the next step after this webinar. In terms of government contracting, for a lot of businesses, you can grow your business without even getting into government contracting. So you really need to find out if government contracting is right for you, your product, your service. And a lot of folks are asking, like, why should I even get into it? But you have to understand that the federal government, the state government, and local governments, they have their own employees. They don't really make anything. So they basically don't make, widgets, tanks, software, pencils. They don't plan their own events. They don't basically provide food at their events. They don't do healthcare. So really, you need to focus on, especially as we're talking about state and local government, is are they buying what you're selling? That's a real key thing. And we'll give you some tools on how you can look that up. In terms of the how to do government contracting the right way, we do recommend that six-step gateway that we mentioned in multiple webinars and workshops. It's focused on 6 steps, basically evaluating if government contracting is right for you, planning, like what's your plan on how to get in the government marketplace, get in the relevant certifications, registrations, um, preparing your business in terms of the marketing tools and securing those relevant certifications, pursuing the government opportunities that are like right for you, and then basically winning on those contracts, performing really well, and then going and getting more contracts. And I'm going to say this again. I don't like to oversell and underdeliver. So the reality is that most of you guys are not going to get a DoD or a $20 million NASA contract right out of the gate. Most businesses follow like the real tried and true path of start small, start local, build up your past performance, and then take advantage of any teaming or subcontracting opportunities, but really grow your capacity, build up your past performance, and then work your way up to larger contracts. And the best opportunity with local contracts is that this is like folks down the street. So you can go meet with a city down the street. You can meet with the county official or county office down the street. You can go to those events in person. State of Florida, that's not too far for you to go. It's, they're in your area. Those are agencies that are in your state. You're a Florida-based business, so that's why it's opportunities really to focus on that are kind of closer to home than these big federal contracts. There are federal contracts that are based in Miami, based in South Florida, based in Florida, but you're competing with folks from around the country. For a lot of state and local contracts, they do have outside bidders for those contracts, but a lot of times they are Florida-based businesses. So that you're competing against folks that are based here in Florida. Just want to talk a little bit about targeting and your industry codes. Like I said, we've talked about this in previous webinars, but you really do want to search for any advantages that you have, small business set-asides, your socioeconomic status, any certifications. We talked about your geography, where you live, where your business is, any past experience. I know in previous webinars, we've had questions. Does private sector experience count under past performance? Yes, it does. Basically things that you've done in the private sector on contracts, but also your experience of your team, experience of your team that you've had, that you're coming together, that could really set your business apart when you're looking for these things. Also, I'm a big believer in like past is prologue and kind of looking for stuff in the that are coming down the road. A lot of businesses just focus on what's on the street, so they look at like active opportunities. But there are a lot of resources that you can look up on things that are previous awards or contracts that have been awarded that are up in a year, in 2 years, that you can kind of target those right now and get, talk to the right people and get your business ready for that. Or you can look at forecasts for like what's expected to be put out like in the next year or 2 years. So those are things that you know that they will be spending on. So maybe if it's something that you're not ready for right now, you have a little bit of time to get ready for it. And when you're looking at those type of things, you want to look for like what are they buying? What product or service do they buy? How do they buy it? Sometimes they're like micro purchases. Sometimes it's a bigger purchase. What amounts are they buying it? Do they set aside particular contracts? Are they hitting their relevant goals? Also the timing, when do they put things out? Is it early in the year, when their fiscal year is? Is it late in the year? What type of thing? So that way you can kind of really plan ahead and get your business in a good spot to go after it. And we're going to talk about this when we get into some of the examples, but you're going to look for those key agencies you want to know about, procurement contacts, any upcoming RFP workshops, any vendor outreach events. You really want to find out when are some of these type of events coming up, and then who are the right people to talk to. And then just understand for state and local contracting that there is basically 4 levels. There's basically federal contracts, state contracts, county, and city. So there is 4 different levels of contracting. And a big thing that's going on is basically that the one one level is not more lucrative than the other. It all depends on the different agencies. It depends on what they're doing. A lot of federal funding actually comes down to the local level and is contracted out in that respect. So it is recommended that you register at all relevant levels of government because you can't know when there's the best projects out there for your particular business. So let's dive into federal Florida contracting, state of Florida. um, for the state of Florida. Basically, there's one portal you need to know, and I have the link up there. It's My Florida Marketplace. This is where you're going to go to get the relevant registrations to put your business on. Um, you're going to basically show that you're registered in Florida, choose what products or services you offer, and you're ready to go. And actually, we're going to walk you through taking advantage of that particular portal to register everything. So when you go to My Florida Marketplace, you're going to see all the relevant kind of information and sources. Um, you're going to see basically where it's to. There's like agency customers, which is more for like the state employees, and the vendors. When you click on the vendors tab, you're going to see where it says the VIP, Vendor Information Portal, and the Business Network. The main one that is really helpful for you that I'm going to highlight is the Vendor Information Portal, VIP. When you click on the vendor information portal, you can log in if you've already got an account. You can register and create the stuff for your business. You can search relevant vendors that are with the state, or you can look up solicitations, like solicitation advertisements. So when you click on this, look for solicitations advertisements, this is where you're going to look it up. So you're going to look up and they have kind of search criteria. You can break it down by commodity codes. If you know your commodity code for the state of Florida, that's really great, but it is helpful if you just type in like janitorial or manufacturing or construction or whatever it is. I typed in janitorial or building cleaning just to give you like an example to search. I would recommend when you're doing the search that you do click on where it says ad status, click on open, because if you don't click on open, it's going to give you a bunch of closed contracts. That is helpful if you want to research past contracts, but you want to basically look for like open contracts that are available now. So the search I'm going to show you is from ad status open, and then also focusing on that general building and office cleaning. So when you look that up, basically what you're seeing is janitorial. So these are mostly janitorial contracts. There's actually 2 that are posted. One is for the state hospitals and housekeeping. The other one is for um, different operations for this Kepler complex. When you're looking up the janitorial services for that, so I clicked on that particular one, and it's for FDOT. And we're going to talk a little bit later about FDOT because there is a lot of opportunities for FDOT. So when you click on the FDOT link, there's basically where it's for floor cleaning, restroom cleaning, general building maintenance, building cleaning services. You can see when the start date is, when the end date is. You can see a lot of the relevant information that it's open. When you kind of drill down, this is some of the information. I strongly, strongly recommend you read all the information that's here. For example, they have a mandatory pre-proposal meeting and site visit is on August 9th. So that already passed. So if you were bidding on this, you didn't attend the mandatory pre-proposal meeting and site visit, so you would not be eligible to apply for this. I mean, they do have a form that you have to fill out, so you have to put that in there. Also know, like for them, the price proposals for this project are due no later than August 27th at 10 a.m. 10 a.m. You always want to confirm, is it Central Standard Time? Is it Eastern Standard Time? Because you do have 2 time zones in the state of Florida. Um, and they have a lot of other information here about public meetings, about different information. Just read all the notes because you could work so much on this particular proposal and then realize that you missed something you're supposed to do, that it came in late, and that's time you could have been spending on another opportunity. And then also at the bottom of it, it does list the contact, Jennifer Alcock. Does not list a phone number for her. It lists her address, and then it lists her email address. And then you can see they did an addendum. They at the bottom they have like the information to bid, the scope of services, required forms. There has been a couple of information sessions, so they have Q&A listed there that could give you some additional information. But they list all the files here. So these are the files that you would use, and then some additional information you should look at. You should look at the addendum because they might have adjusted something. They might have changed the date, scope of service. They might have changed like how much it is. So you want to read all that information. And then this is when you click on some of the documents, this is the document relative to the bid information. So this shows you basically, it's under FDOT, it's for the complex. It shows you what's the bid due date. It does say potential bidders should notify the office by returning this bid registration form, download it, complete the information, and email it. And then I for this is basically what's under their bid proposal under the thing. So it basically is the price. So you're gonna basically be able to utilize this, put in how much the unit price is, what's the total, those type of things. So you can basically kind of price it out. I do have in the resources information on estimating and bid proposal and things like that. And then this is from a separate solicitation or advertisement. But I do just want to know, because I mentioned previously about different site visits and different things, that at the end of the day, this kind of shows you a timeline. This is a separate solicitation, but it does kind of map it out easy for you to see. Like see where they say mandatory site visit. This is the day, this is the time, that's the location, the last day for written inquiries to be received, when they're going to post written responses to bidder inquiries, when your sealed bids are due. Does note that they're basically mailed to this address. Public meeting for the opening of bids is this date. They have a teleconference number, conference room number, and then they're gonna post the recommended awards on September 9th, and then they have it in the portal. So you want to pay attention to these type of things. Note where they say like here Eastern time. Just pay attention to all those different times and different timelines because those are helpful for you to plan ahead. I also do want to note there is a separate website that's located. So just like the federal government has the General Services Administration, GSA. GSA is kind of like the landlord for a lot of government agencies. They also do provide different products and services for multiple agencies. So the GSA schedule is kind of what businesses would get on for the federal government. Actually, Department of Management Services serves in a similar role for the state of Florida. So just like it says on their website, and I'll go back real quick, but just want to point out for this particular slide, which we'll send you, we do have the link at the bottom to that particular website. When you go to their website, it does note that there's basically the Division of State Purchasing does state contracts and agreements for commodity and services that are frequently used by multiple state agencies. And so what they list below, these are active agreements. And so basically expired agreements, you can click on the separate one to see, but this is helpful if you want to try to get one of those kind of like statewide contracts for multiple agencies. That's something you can look up and you can see what's active. When does it start? When does it end? Who's got it? Like those type of things. Those are things that you can look up. And then now that we covered like state contracting, let's get into like local government contracting as well. So just would mention, like in the state of Florida, there's 67 counties, and in Miami-Dade County, there's 35 cities. So you have multiple opportunities to work at the county and local level. Also would just mention, like south of Miami-Dade, you also have Monroe County. Monroe County has the county plus 5 municipalities as well. And then just breaking down like an example for the city of Miami, you can go to their website. Used to be called BidSync, now it's Periscope S2G. Similar to it looks similar to BidSync, but basically this is a particular portal that you can go on and register. Um, Actually, for BidSync and some of these other kind of aggregators, you can usually register for one city on the system. But if you're going to go for a contract under BidSync or Periscope for another city, then you would need to pay for a subscription. So you just research it and look up for the different sites, kind of how they handle it. But just be aware of that. Like if you're just going to register for City of Miami, you can use Periscope site for that. But if you were going to use go for another city and they have Periscope as well, then you would need to explore getting a particular subscription. When you go to the City of Miami website, you can look up what kind of active solicitations. So they do have a number of them. I was interested in kind of some of these ones that we don't usually talk about. So I did actually click on one for the City of Miami, that it was for police radars, lasers. We've all been driving in Miami or Dade County and have seen like people speeding or like cops out there with the radar guns. So this is actually the contract for City of Miami for police radar, laser equipment repairs and recertification. You'll see basically this is the information on it. It does show, as of when I accessed it, it basically had 3 days and 19 hours left. Um, and has all the information. It talks about basically completing the forms, including the attachments, has all that information. You know, you do see that it says, please log in to view the solicitation information. Also wanted to show you City of Doral. City of Doral, if you go to their website, it's a little different than other cities because they have a lot of economic development and business development going on. So actually, if you go to the website, it's usually intuitive to go to businesses, and businesses will list all the contract information. For them, it's actually under, I believe, like the city hall or department contacts, is where the procurement section is. When you click on the procurement section for the City of Doral, it does note basically, welcome to procurement, active solicitations, bid notifications, doing business with Doral, different things. So it has a lot of really good information that's listed there. When you click on active solicitations, this is what it shows you. So it shows you like a number of different ones that are available. I really like it because it does list like what's the closing date, how to get in. The information is similar in terms of how the bids are structured to City Miami. So I wasn't going to do a deep dive in that respect. But you can see basically you can look up the different ones, what's active, different landscape. You can click on the little link for more details when you get to it. And like I said, there's multiple other cities around the city, Miami-Dade County that you could do business with as well, or in other counties. In terms of Miami-Dade County, we'll just shout out the Small Business Development Division, SBD. They're the ones that kind of help with a lot of these procurement opportunities and contracts and certifications in Miami-Dade County. I did list their website at the bottom of this particular slide. When you go there, you can basically see they have 3 buckets: certified small businesses, certification programs, where you can find out the certifications that are relevant to you, and then contracting opportunities. When you click on the certification programs, this is kind of the information it shows you. Shows you basically where they have 3 different types of programs. One is for goods and services, one is for architecture and engineering, and one is for construction. So they do show you those things. You can basically click on an application for the certification programs at the link that's listed on their website. So that's where you can get through and get different certifications. The main one is the small business certification. When you click on the contracting opportunities, this is the information that they show you. Like we talked about forecast, they do post up the forecast for projects that are coming up. So they do list that here. Also, they have projects under review. They have a couple of other different programs that are listed as well. Like the Equitable Distribution Program is focused for architecture and engineering firms. And you can read the information on that. So they do list them out. When you actually get in to look up for different opportunities, actually this one was some of the solicitations that are available related to construction. So you can see basically you can search the different solicitation numbers. You can look for different contract opportunities that are relevant to you. Would note, just pay attention to the opening date, when it was posted, and then kind of go down and look at the different opportunities. One of the ones that I did highlight for you guys is regarding grizzlies. These are basically like little cranes that they use, related to waste management. So I did pull up a solicitation for the furnishing and installing grizzlies. So the contractor, as it notes, they have to basically obtain and submit all permits. For that, they have to basically replace 2 existing grizzly cranes, remove them, and then put the new ones in. That's listed under electrical, building construction, and general construction categories. When you look into the actual bid information and solicitation stuff, they basically do break it down where they basically talk about how this is like a $500,000 contract. It's due August 30th at 2 o'clock. They do want it via sealed envelopes, so it looks like it's another mailed one. Um, Actually, and then they do list at the bottom, see where it says bid shall be submitted to this particular contact via email. Um, and at the end of the day, they again talk about the scope of work and what they're asking for. So they do kind of walk you through it. It actually has the location and different things like that. I would note where they have the contacts, and then they basically put a lot of the other information. As with the state contracts, would recommend you read everything in greater detail. Don't miss anything. Don't miss the date. Don't miss the deadline. Don't miss the method of submitting the bid. Look up any type of information relative to the scoring, what they're looking for, any past experience, those type of things. Like this said, these are specific to Grizzlies. So don't submit a bid that you're gonna provide them with some other product, not a Grizzly. They're like, no, we don't want that. We want Grizzlies. So you want to be specific to what the particular agency is looking for. So now that we talked about state contract, now that we talked about county contracts, now that we talked about local contracts, let's talk about business development. Let's talk about some things that you can do in terms of making contacts, raising awareness, those type of things. So what we would recommend for state government contracts is to identify elected officials or agency officials that you're going to be working with or work that are relative to the work you're going to be doing. So for state contracts, you want to review who is the head of the agency that you're looking at contracting opportunities for, who are the program directors, who are the procurement contracts. So just be aware of the different relevant staff at those particular agencies, just so you know what's going on. There could be webinars that they're in. There could be vendor outreach fairs. They could have information sessions. They can have a lot of different information. So you just want to like put on your awareness for those particular agency contacts. Also, if you're going to be working in the state of Florida with state agencies, also just be mindful of who your state senator is, who is your state representatives, and also what relevant state committees have jurisdiction over those agencies. Those might be things that you could watch if you have a trouble with a particular contractor, with an agency, or if they're your particular state senator or representative, if they're trying to do more work with that agency. Those might be things that you could find out. You could see like public events that they do, and you could find out more information about that agency. Also, the committees have hearings on particular agencies. So they could basically have information that could come out that could help you regarding your contracting opportunities. Similarly, for local contracts, you want to basically be aware of any departments or programs that you're going for, like if it's transportation, if it's aviation, kind of who are the relevant agencies that you're looking at. You also want to look at like county leadership, county commissioners, be aware of who your county commissioner is. You want to be aware of those particular elected officials and agency leadership. For cities, Who is the mayor? Who are the city commissioners? Who are the city managers? Who's their staff? What are the city departments and programs? Who are the procurement staff relevant to that? Just know kind of the rundown on those particular organizations and their staff as well. Because like I said, they do outreach fairs, they do information sessions, they're out in the community with listening sessions. So those could be opportunities for you to connect with them. In terms of the particular communities you're working with, would recommend you also pay attention to economic development, to business improvement districts. Mentioning that because there are particular grants, there's programs, there's incentives, there is economic development plans for those areas. So if you're, especially if you're based in the particular city or a county, that could be opportunities for you in terms of not just pursuing contracting opportunities, but also programs and incentives that can help your business. So would recommend that you be aware of economic development offices, departments, also any kind of incentives. Also, if you're in Miami-Dade County, also would look up like business improvement districts, community redevelopment agencies, downtown development authorities, and Main Street programs, because these are not always under like the city or the county themselves. They do have additional grants, additional programs, additional contracts under those particular groups. So you might want to also pay attention to those just in case there was opportunities for contracting under them, or if there's workshops or loans or grants or incentives under those particular programs as well. And then additionally, for those particular communities that you're looking for contracting opportunities, just be aware, do they have chambers of commerce, industry associations, networking groups, economic development organizations that are separate from the county or the city? Do these particular groups, do they have monthly luncheons, networking, training, workshops, any type of buy local programs? I'm just mentioning that because that is an opportunity for you to network with those particular agency officials, county elected officials, city officials, procurement folks. That is opportunities for you to network with them outside of like a particular structured program. So you might be able to find some opportunities, hear from similar businesses in the industry. So it is good not to just focus, like laser focus on the particular agencies and officials, but also like business organizations as well. And then just general business development tips. Like we said, you can basically look for previously awarded contracts that are similar to the scope of service you're looking for. You could do cost proposal and estimating classes or use software. I will give you a couple of links to some webinars that we've done previously that are available on YouTube that you can look up. You can develop in Excel a contract or an RFP matrix so you can track and forecast contracts that are similar to what you're going for. And then, like I said, really, really, really look for what their scoring is to make sure that you're hitting the right categories when you're submitting the proposal. And then we've talked about this in previous webinars, but you want to have your capability statement and elevator pitch and your business cards. And then just be aware for the contracting officer that there is that cone of silence. So if they have a bid or a solicitation on the street, they're not going to be able to talk to you, not going to be able to give you a lot of details. So they do prescribe like when they have information sessions, Q&A sessions, those type of things. Everything needs to be like in writing, and then they post it for everybody. So just know that it's kind of like bad form to reach out to people, the contracting officer, after the comment period, or when the solicitation is closed, or when they're evaluating proposals. But like we said, all the solicitation documents are going to spell out all that information. And then the thing I would stress really is be professional. Use an email address affiliated with your website because Yahoo and Gmail accounts, they do look a little less professional when you're doing business. So if you do have a website, have an email address associated with your website. If you're a really, really small business and you're still using Yahoo or Gmail, that's okay. Just make sure your emails when you're sending them out do look a little more professional. Double check typos, any information that's out of date. Double check your website because they will look at your website when you submit the information or if you're emailing them. As we always say, don't try to be jack of all trades, because they'll see through that. They meet with lots of businesses. Really lean in with your expertise, your experience. And then in regards to state contracting resources, I do want to mention on this My Florida Marketplace website, most people are going to go straight to register their business, and they're going to go straight to look up those solicitations. I do want to mention to you on the My Florida Marketplace page, when you click on like vendor resources, they do have a really good vendor guide that kind of walks you through how to use the website to do business with the state of Florida. But in addition, they have courses that you can take from the website, and they also have kind of like video channels that you can watch. So actually, when you click on the video channel, they do have two upcoming live webinars coming up. One is responding to electronic solicitations. One is regarding foundations for vendors, basically like some basics for the My Florida Marketplace website. If you can't watch the upcoming webinars, they do have archived versions of those webinars that are available. And then I would do a shout out to our YouTube page for Florida SBDC at FIU. We have a number of really great webinars that you can watch on your own time regarding this particular topic. The first one is regarding FDOT, who the Florida Department of Transportation has tons of projects. And you don't just have to be construction. It could be a lot of different things too. But we do have one on FDOT that's available. We have one on government bidding, what you need to know. We do have another one on bidding for success. And then the last one is on succeeding with anchor procurement. I did see that that one was with Turner Construction, and then also with Miami-Dade County. So they had some really good tips from that particular webinar that I thought it was relevant to include. And then we have two that are under the Florida PTAC. One was doing business with state and local governments, and the other one was like state and local resources, where they have some information on their website. And the last one was Georgia PTAC, where they have some good information too. And then I would say feel free to follow us on socials and on our information. You can see all of our contact info up there. And then lastly, like I'll turn it over to questions. So I'll let Jesus kind of handle any questions. I just want to thank you guys for your time on this. I do see that the chat looks like it's been active. Let's see.
Yep, I have a question. How do you get around bias predecessor or pre-decider decisions?
In terms of the contracting officers?
Yes.
I'd say for the contracting officers, they do have to, just like the federal government, where they'll follow all federal guidelines and rules. For state and local, they also do have like prescribed like rules and regulations they need to follow. So basically, that's why it's really important to review like the bid package and the solicitation, and just make sure you're following all the relevant rules there, because then you're doing everything the right way. They can't disqualify you because you were 5 minutes late to submit it, or because you missed something. That's where most businesses get tripped up, is they don't follow the proper format, they don't submit the bid in the right way, they don't hit the deadline, or they miss something in the package. So if you do everything the right way, and submit it, then you're giving yourself the best shot.
Then pricing for all RFPs is confusing. What is the recommendation to best navigate this?
I would encourage for that basically to be able to go to the webinars that I listed there. And I did see that we got a question on the slides. I will send a copy of the slides to Jesus. So the fact that you guys attended, we will send you the slides afterwards. But definitely you should look at some of these online webinars. There are like classes you can pay for, but there's a lot of stuff that's free on YouTube now, like YouTube University. You can actually look up on pricing and estimation, because that is something that's big.
On top of that, we have a great consultant that can assist in that regard as well. So,
yeah,
everyone has my email address. I'll be more happy to connect you with the appropriate consultant. Just put the subject line based on the area in need, and I'll be more happy to connect you to that particular consultant. And then I saw some additional questions.
I think Ricardo mentioned something about Unison Global. That sounds like more of a private contract.
Yeah, so
I'd encourage him to circle back with you, Jesus.
Okay, Perfect.
And then for Palm Beach County, I don't have that one. He's reach out to Jesus Rosa and we can send that to you so you can look it
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, like, and if your business is located outside Miami-Dade County, shoot me an email and I'll be more happy to connect you with your local SBDC, resource partner, county, to assist and, and address your business needs.
Mhm. And then I did see that there was a question regarding BizGap, that BizGap is focused on District 27 and it is focused on Miami-Dade County. If you are not located in Miami-Dade County or District 27, we do have a number of resources we can connect you to. Trying to see if any other questions in the chat. The predecessor is the company chosen before. Oh, okay. For that one, I would circle back with Jesus. We can get you connected with one of our consultants regarding that. Basically, they are supposed to put it out. So even if there is like a incumbent, they are supposed to basically put it out for bid. That incumbent looks like they are applying and they are getting selected again. But that could be something that you could reach out if the person incumbent has the contract and there's some time to do it. You could do one of those capability meetings with the procurement officer and kind of talk about your product or service, maybe how you do things differently or kind of what's going on. So maybe it's a good opportunity to get on the radar. But if if it follows a normal process, they should put that out for bid and they'd have the same chance as anybody, even though they are an incumbent, they might have like a leg up. And then they mentioned something about the VA hospital individually. For me, my understanding was if you look on sam.gov, it would list the information by agency. So it would go down to individual VA hospitals, but you would be able to see that information on sam.gov.
Okay. Are we allowed to ask procurement agent on the bid information like pricing or previous pricing on the contract?
That's where you would basically try to ask for copies of the previous contract or the previous award. Those are ones that they've done like previously. You can also ask for similar scope and services to what you're doing, so they can give you like previously awarded contracts. That is probably the best way to figure it out, or meet with consultants like on our team or watch some of the webinars to figure out pricing. I would say that that's like the secret sauce, is figuring it out. But usually if you ask for those previously awarded contracts, that would give you that type of information. Just make sure it's very specific to your scope of service.
Okay, I'm a hair loss specialist. I want to know how I can get a bid to get contract with the hospital in Miami and Miramar, Florida.
If they're talking about the VA hospital or with
Separate.
private hospitals, I would encourage you maybe look up the Florida Anchor Alliance, the South Florida Anchor Alliance. I knew that they do have a couple of hospitals that are included in there, so that might be an opportunity to get in there. I haven't heard of those particular um, contracts or for that particular product or service. But who's to say they're not doing it? So I would say look up the South Florida Anchor Alliance, because I know that that is like a one-stop shop that lists a lot of different hospitals and different anchor institutions that are included. Okay. And let me see, I see two more. I think it was Stephanie just talking about incumbents again. Yeah, I do take your point on that, Stephanie, that they use incumbents a number of times. I would say that would be something where you might use the opportunity to meet with the contracting officer before the contract is put out for bid again. Like I said, maybe it's an opportunity for you to get on the radar um, and follow it. It might also be something where you could talk to some elected officials in that particular county to highlight that and that there's not opportunities for other companies to bid. Okay. I don't see any other questions. Okay. Well, I just want to thank everybody. I want to thank Jesus for helping to organize the webinar. I want to thank you guys for attending. As Jesus mentioned, we will send you a copy of the slides after the presentation. Just be on the lookout for it. And then would encourage you to attend some future webinars that we have coming up as well. I know Jesus will send you that information. Just thank you again for your time.
Thank you, everyone, and have a good day.